Good evening, everybody. We were discussing about the capital market. Yesterday, we stopped at the process of public issues, how shares are being issued, what is an IPO, what is an FPO, what is an old market, new market, all these things we have discussed. We stopped at the issue process. I was telling you, directly companies will not issue shares to the public. There will be an intermediary. Generally, this kind of financial intermediary is generally a commercial bank. That means the company ensures the responsibility. Company gives the responsibility of issuing shares to the public or make shares available to the public. That means the maintaining the application forms, receiving the application forms, receiving the money from the public, everything will be the responsibility of the intermediary. They ensure that released number of shares are made available to the public, but it is the will and wish of the public to invest in the shares. Some of the shares released may not be subscribed also. Some may be oversubscribed, depending upon the credentials of the company and the balance sheet of the company and how their financials are doing over the past 1 or 2 years. And they also expect whether this kind of a product would be really in demand in future. Basing this, the public forms an opinion about buying a share or not. So I was telling you, intermediary, both IPO and FPO, both are handled similarly. Then the other terms I am saying, there is an unauthorized capital. When an issue is agreed by SEBI and issue comes to the public, shares are subscribed, oversubscribed. Exactly, I am coming to the point. I am coming to next. Before that, I am saying about authorized capital and issued capital. After that, I am coming to your point like subscribed, oversubscribed, undersubscribed, underwriting. These are the things I am going to tell. Good. Authorized capital is the whatever the permit based on the financials of the company, balance sheet of the company, SEBI puts a limit to raise capital from the public. The company's capacity may be anything, but issued capital, authorized capital is the maximum amount of money that the company can raise through IPO. That is the authorized capital. That somebody has authorized them that their limit is 1,000 crores. They cannot go, they can issue shares up to 1,000 crores or below that, but certainly not above that. That is the authorized capital. Then the second term is there, issued capital. Though you are authorized to raise 1,000 crores, if company decides only 500 crores is sufficient, because anyway, these shares will be there after the buying and selling happens. Every year, once somebody is investing in your shares means the company has got an obligation to perform well, show profits every year, bonus or dividend has to be more. Then only he retains the share bought by the investor. Otherwise, he sells the share in the market. The value of the share is based on the performance of the company. That's how company identifies its strengths and weaknesses. Though they are permitted to raise maximum capital, they can limit their requirement to maximum capital. It can be less also. So let us assume that 1,000 crores are permitted to raise, but your company decides only 500 crores is sufficient. The issue will be given for 500 crores only. That is called issued capital. Authorized issued capital can be equal to authorized capital or less than that, but certainly not more than that. Fine. Then you issue, public issue goes, and then no, some intermediary handles your public issue. Then subscription starts coming in. People start buying your shares. After completion of the date, the buying process now will be completed by a certain date. Then three more terms come there. Subscribed capital is exactly for how much amount the buyers have bought the shares is subscribed capital. You have issued for 500 crores. Assume that 450 crore worth shares are bought by the public. 50 crores is remaining unsold. That means 500 crores is the issued capital. 450 crores is the subscribed capital. Then oversubscribed capital. Though you have issued for 500 crores, shares applications for buying of the shares, sometimes no, the application and net worth of the net worth of the applications went for buying of the shares, or people shown interest in buying of the shares is sometimes twice, thrice, 4 times, or any number of times. Assuming here 500 is the issued capital, 450 is the subscribed capital. In case of oversubscribed capital, it can be more than 500 crores, 550 crore, 600 crore worth capital is ready to move in, though issue capital is only 500 crores. This is called oversubscribed capital. Then undersubscribed capital. Undersubscribed is if it is 500 crores, 500 crores are purchased, that is full capacity purchase happens, that is subscribed capital. Under subscription is less than 500 crores anybody purchases, whatever is the remaining quantity is there to make up to issue capital, then it becomes undersubscribed. That means expectation is 500, now worth is 500, and 50 crore worth shares are remaining, they are unsold, that is under subscription. Subscription is at par, over subscription above, under subscription is less than that. So what happens if less than the subscribed capital, shares go for a less than subscribed capital? That means no, some portion of the shares are left unsubscribed. What happens to this? Initially, there will be an underwriter for each issue. Underwriter's job is, the agreement between underwriter and the issuing company is that any amount of shares unsubscribed, the underwriter will have to buy it. That means here 50 crores left worth shares will be purchased by the underwriter. Underwriter generally be a commercial bank. So it is kind of an investment for the commercial bank in that company, industry. After that, it can sell, it can retain. That's all, no, depends on the policy of the company. So here I have introduced one more term, underwriter. Underwriter is the one who buys the unsubscribed amount of the IPO. He is the underwriter. Generally, they will be banks. Right. Then, how this amount is being collected? What are the names for that? You issue shares. Shares will be bought by the public. Whether total amount of the share is to be paid by the subscriber in one single installment? No. It will be in many installments. It can be 1, 2, 3. At the time of applying, some portion of the value of the shares will be asked to be deposited. After some time, a second installment, they ask, no, this much percentage of the amount need to be again deposited. There can be a third time also. It can be in 2 times, it can be 3 times. No, it depends upon company to company. There are no standard guidelines as to how many installments apply for collecting the money from the subscribers. So, if company decides at this time, this much percent is to be paid by you. Like that, it happens in installments. That is called 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 up capital, because you are calling when the amount is to be paid, how much is to be paid, the company is deciding. You are calling the subscriber and asking him to pay money by that time. That is called up capital. Similarly, there is another word, paid up capital. Paid up capital, subscriber can take liberty to pay it in one go or in 2 installments. He can take, because there is no guideline from the company when it is to be paid. Only a single guideline will be given by the company stating that by such and such date, the amount equal to the value of the shares bought by you has to be deposited. Fine. Here customer, here subscriber is taking the liberty to pay it, then that is called paid up capital. That is the difference between a called up capital and paid up capital. Both terms relate to the method the subscriber is paying the value of the shares to the company. I think I am clear here. Right. These two terms, after this time, there is another term called reserve capital. Reserve capital is sometimes the amount you have collected from the issue. A minor amount thus collected can be kept for offsetting the bank's losses, the company's losses. That is a reserve capital, but that will be very minor. It also happens where they can sell the assets of the company, and a small amount of the sale proceeds through assets can also be used for the company to offset a part of the loss. That is also called a reserve capital. But reserve capital, generally don't remember reserve capital in respect of issue of a public issue. Only paid up capital and called up capital, these two words you need to remember in respect of share release. Then is another method. IPO is you are releasing to everybody. Public can buy, institutions can buy, and then individuals can buy. Anybody can buy. That is the public issue. Another method of issue is there. That issue is called private placement. The shares are only offered. Private placement means shares are offered to qualified financial institutions only. When the issue is only for private placement, public cannot buy it individually. That means each independent person, individual person cannot buy shares from an issue placed for private placement. Private placement, that is release of the shares for buying by the financial institutions only. They called it qualified institutional buyers. Why they called qualified institutional buyers? Already they should be strong in handling finances. They should have sufficient capital. That can be an industry, that can be a bank, that can be any financial organization. The second aspect is they are financially sophisticated buyers. Sophisticated means they have all paraphernalia to operate the finances. They are strong in finances. The second is they are recognized by the market regulators. They are very well known in the market through their financial operations. That means market regulators know their name, their financial strength. That is the second aspect. The third thing is they need less security from issuing authority. That means they are already strong. You need not secure them. If you are offering it to public, that amount is to be secured again, no, through, yesterday I told you there is a security body, there is a security organization for deposits you are keeping in the bank. That regulatory authority, similarly, the amount invested by the individual needs to be shown some kind of security. If it is a private financial institutions, security need not be, the risk of security showing by the company will be very less compared to an independent investor. Here, such kind of an institutions, for example, they are scheduled commercial banks, come under that category. Pension funds, that means no, the organization handling the pension funds, they can buy. Mutual funds can buy. PF authorities can buy shares. State industrial development corporations, etc., they can buy shares. Why they are buying shares? Can you guess the reason? Because they have taken money from the public, they have to pay interest to the public deposits. How do they ensure that the interest part? Suppose at 10%, you have promised the investor that you would pay interest on the deposits made with you. That means you will have to earn more than 10%. Your operational expenses will be there, let us say 2%. More than 12% if you are earning on the deposits made by the public with you, then only there is a possibility of making profit by you using the amount from the public. If you are making 16% profit, then only you can pay this 10% to the promised 10% to the original depositor. That's why thinking that if they are investing in shares, in future the shares will earn that much profit. With that speculation, these financial companies have an obligation to invest here and there. One of the investment options for them is buying shares. When institutional placement, private placement is coming, any offer of private placement is coming, seeing the strength of the company, all these financial institutions would like to buy shares, just like public buy shares. Then IPO, I told you, that is the initial public offering, first time when you are going to the market. The over and beyond the public, the IPO, if you want to raise shares, that I told you, FPO, follow on public offering. Follow on public offering can also be called as a rights issue. You will say public issue, rights issue. Rights issue is follow on public offering. That means people who have already purchased. Rights issue, those subscribers, the preference goes to those subscribers, initial subscribers. If they want to buy, even they will be accepted. If they are not coming, and then only it will be offered to remaining public. Otherwise, the preference is to the original subscribers. Then there is another issue called a bonus issue. Sometimes the shares will be issued as a bonus issue. Bonus issue is very much limited to already existing subscribers, shareholders. On the shareholding, on the capital which they have invested through buying of the shares, whatever profit is generated by the company, the profit will be equally distributed over the shareholders. Per share, how much profit is being, the total profit when it is divided over number of shares, then automatically profit per share emerges. This profit obtained per share during that year is called a bonus. Good. What happens? The company takes a decision, let us not pay the cash towards a bonus to the subscriber. Let us convert this bonus also into an additional share, and then now we will add to the original number of shares. You already have 1,000 shares. This year, the value of the share is 100 rupees. This year on 1,000 shares, you got, let us say, 1,000 rupees as bonus. 1,000 rupees, the company takes a decision, let the 1,000 rupees can be converted into 10 more shares, then the shareholding capacity of that person goes from 1000 to 1010. This is called a bonus issue. Instead of paying the cash, instead of paying money to the subscriber, original shareholder, you are converting the bonus gained over the shares of the shareholder into additional number of shares so that his shareholding number is more. What is the advantage by doing that? Your original shareholding, you have originally invested 100 rupees per share. You purchased 10 shares. Your amount is 1000. The company functioned for 6 years. Now, you through 6 years, you have gained another 30 shares, let us say. Your shareholding has become 100 shares, 10 shares, another 10 shares are added. You have now 20 shares. 20 shares of original shareholding money, that means 100 rupees per share. That is the share amount when share is offered to you, original amount. Now, when you go to the market, after all these years of functioning and the credibility built by the market, net worth of the company and all that, your share is trading at 450 rupees. You purchased at 100 rupees. Now in the market, it is at 450. People are ready to buy your share. The 10 shares and then remaining another 10 shares now, which have come through bonus, 20 shares when you are putting in the market, 20 into 450, 9,000 rupees you are getting money when you are selling share in the market. 9,000 rupees you are getting for the investment you have made of 1,000 rupees for buying 10 shares 6 years ago. That is the advantage. Always converting into, when they pay it in terms of cash, you would have got 100 rupees or 150 rupees. But converting into the public market, no, when you want to do that, then the profit is much more. It will be 10-fold, 20-fold, 30-fold, depending upon the performance of the company. That's why I always know converting the bonus into additional share is profitable. That is the bonus issue. Then there is another kind of an issue, sweat equity issue. Sweat equity issue. That means this, you are very, very important for the company. You have technology which nobody knows. You alone would function as for a certain aspect while producing that product. Your technology is utmost necessary. You are irreplaceable. That means then what the company wants, they do not want to lose you. They want to keep you, continue with them. They offer you, in order to keep you there, what they offer you, okay, we will give certain amount of the shares towards sweat equity. That means towards your hard work, they are offering a portion of the shares of the company to you. But the shares will not have original value. That means now at 100 rupees, if you are releasing it, it will not, now currently, they will not offer it 100 rupees to the person who is eligible for sweat equity. That will be offered at a much discounted price. That will be offered at 10 rupees. That will be offered at 20 rupees. That means they are giving value to your hard work. They are giving value to your knowledge. Knowledge partners, people who are doing hard work, whose services are definitely required to the company, whose services are irreplaceable. In that case, they make them as shareholders of the company by allotting them some shares at a very discounted price. This is called sweat equity. Sometimes they can give part of the partnership also. If it is a small company, other persons will keep capital into that. Some persons will run it. Some person who is totally in charge of production and selling, he may be made an equal partner. Even he need not invest a single rupee. His work, his hard work itself is an investment. His hard work will be taken as an equal partner or some portion of the company. He will made a ownership of some portion of the company. That is called sweat equity. If you have followed newspapers now 4 or 5 years ago, or a couple of years ago also, you would have heard one Miss Sunanda Pushkar was offered a sweat equity in in an IPL team, in a cricket team, IPL, Cochin IPL, Cochin team. She did not invest anything. She is not a promoter, but she is given a sweat equity of 25% in the franchisee and ownership of the Kochi team of IPL. Why? Because she was the mediator. She handled remaining investors, and then she arranged all investors to form a buy for a Kochi franchisee. That's how her work was contributory towards arranging investors. That's how she was also offered a part of the company as sweat equity. The first word sweat equity we heard then. Sunanda Pushkar, Shashi Tharoor, then Sunanda Pushkar married Shashi Tharoor, MP of Kerala, and then Shashi Tharoor was in Congress. Then Sunanda Pushkar was murdered in a five-star hotel in a Delhi five-star hotel. That case, many days now, the case was in the limelight, and everybody accused Shashi Tharoor of some mishandling. Subsequently, it's now lying low, it dying down, but no, case is still going on, but we are not getting any news of the case. Why I am referring it here, one who follows the newspapers regularly, they certainly will be able to remember Sunanda Pushkar case when sweat equity, issue of sweat equity comes. Sweat equity issue, the price, the shares are offered at a discounted price. Rights issue to the original owners, bonus issue to the persons who have already purchased shares, private placement only to the financial institutions. These are the differences of various issues. Then there are two other, they are not shares, no, they are indirectly a sweat equity, but they are not called by that name. Two more categories are there. It is for incentivizing the employees. Any company, some employees you want to incentivize them, you want to boost up, and then you want to motivate them. And sometimes you want to compensate. Every year, company employees are entitled for a bonus. Instead of paying bonus as a cash as bonus, sometimes they give shares as a bonus. And they will have some riders. Okay, these many shares we are issuing at this price. After 2 years, we will buy back. After no, the 1/3 of the shares will be bought after 2 years. 1/3 of the shares will be bought after another 2 years. Likewise, there will be riders. A good employee in the capacity of an executive or a director of a bank, a director of a financial institution is doing good, but there is always a threat now that he can leave this company and join one more company. To avoid that, to retain him for a few more years, what do? Any company, they allot 1,000 shares worth 500 rupees each. That is about 5 lakh rupees. If you are placing 5 lakh rupees shares in the market, they may fetch you 15 lakhs. So this 15 lakh worth shares will be given in the name of the employee whom you want to retain. You will say him, irrespective of the price, after 2 years, the company will buy back. You need not go to the primary market. The company itself buys you back at this price after 2 years, only 1/3 of the shares. That means 1,000 shares are given, 1/3 is 300 shares. You will be able to sell after 2 years. Another 300 shares after 4 years. Another 300 shares after 6 years. That means 6 years, by allotting these many number of shares to the employee, enticing him to stay there so that every 2 years you are getting 5 lakh rupees, then no employee will think to leave the company unless the offer is 3 times of the amount which he is getting, then only it's possible. But in industry standards, 25%, 30% hike is common, but nobody is going to give you a 70% hike or 1,000%, a 100% hike. In that case, an employee who is given these shares, he will not leave the company unless something is really big. This is a way of retaining the employee with the company. This scheme is called Employee Stock Option Scheme, ESOS, Employee Stock Option Scheme. There is another scheme, Employee Stock Purchase Scheme. In this case, the company is offering the employee to buy certain amount of shares. Normally, the shares will not be allowed unless it goes as an IPO. Normally, other than IPO time, shares are not released by company any other time. But the shares are available in the open market. That means now in BSE, an exchange, over the counter sales, they are available. You want to buy a share in the open market, you can buy a share. But the share value at rate of 1,000, you will not be getting it. It gets at a market value. Company sometimes offers a bunch of shares, certain amount of shares for the employees to purchase. This is called Employee Stock Purchase Scheme. Buyback guarantee is not there, like in Employee Stock Option Scheme. But certainly, Employee Stock Purchase Option Scheme is making the employees also part of the shareholding of the company. Here, one term you will remember, you don't have money. Now, the company decides this amount number of shares you can buy at this, that is at a prefixed price, at a prefixed date. Before the end of the month, I am allotting you 100 shares. Before the end of the month, you will have to buy. The rate of each share is 100 rupees. Likewise, the company informs its employees, selected employees. They have to purchase the share before that date at that price. Sometimes it so happens the employee will not have money by that date. They will delay it by another 4 days or 5 days. What happens in that 4 or 5 days, the difference, whatever difference is there in the market rate of the share, that amount, the difference in the market rate of the shares allotted to the employee from the date of purchase and from the actual purchase date, that is 4 days difference. Whatever difference in surge of price in the share will be deducted from the salary of the employee by the company. That is the difference from Employee Stock Option Scheme, Employee Stock Purchase Scheme. Employee Stock Purchase Scheme is also a scheme now meant to make the employee richer. Because the company is doing well, share value is going high in the market. Today or tomorrow, you will keep the shares. After that, whenever you require it, you will sell it in the market to get more money. This is one more option to make the employee rich. These two options are given to the company employees only, not to the public. This is to incentivize the employees of the company. With this different kind of issue, starting from IPO, we have discussed all kinds of issues related to share release by the company. Then, old market, I told you, new market, old market, I told you yesterday itself. IPO is called a new market. FPO is called a old market. Subsequently, whatever transactions are happening on a daily basis from already purchased shares is old market. Old market is nothing but stock exchange, because in the stock exchange, the shares which are already sold or bought, again, no transaction happens with those shares only. It will not do anything with the IPO. When new shares are being released by the company, stock exchange is not in the picture. Only a financial intermediary, through them, the issue is released. They collect the money, they pay to the company. When somebody gets a hold on the share, the second transaction onwards, now whatever is happening, that becomes an old market. That is the job of the stock exchange. Both old market is called a secondary market. Stock exchange handles a secondary market. Primary market is IPO. Stock exchange will not handle primary market.
Shall we continue again, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Dear students, please join again.